Hello and welcome to a brand new week of Sunday League to Legend here on Football Manager 2021 and on YouTube. Not only is it a brand new week, but we are in a brand new league. We are in Sky Bet League 1, having started all the way back in 2021 in the North West Counties Division 1 North. But as you can see, we have quite the successful league history. We have promotion after promotion. We've made it into the Football League, and now we're in League 1, and we're rubbing our shoulders with some very big boys. Our first game this week will be on Wednesday, and it's not going to be against Walsall. In fact, it's going to be our second game, which is against Morecambe, so a local rival for us. It's at home against the side from just up the road at Leyland Albion Stadium, so it is a home tie for us. Looking forward to that one. Before that, we play Walsall. They're not especially considered a dangerous team this year. I mean, we're not either, and we'll see that in a moment. Managed by John Dahl Thomason. Interesting there at Banks's Stadium. We begin our look at the off-season business with the transfers. There's still one to go through. We're trying to sign Earl White from Bromley, and Zach Beattie could be on his way out to Southport. That may happen, but in the meantime we have been spending plenty of cash. For the first time really, I've been putting the money where my mouth is, and it started back in June. At the end of the season we managed to grab the likes of Steve Berry, coming in, a young player, good mental stats, good physicals, so plenty to work on in terms of his technicals, but a really good young player who we think there'll be a good resale value in. Same with Lee Jones. He came over from Barry, left winger. Really important position for us, actually, because we struggled a bit last season, and especially with the players that have left, it's left us really short in the wing areas. Again, decent stats. You know, we're getting to the point when I'm expecting kind of 12 to 14s in the key areas. He certainly meets those demands. John has arrived from Stoke, so he was here on loan last season with us and did a really good job for us. 27 goals all told, 22 in the league. Was a really good player for us. Haven't got any concerns with him at all. So 25k, bit of a drop in the ocean really, to sign him from Stoke City. Previous to that, he was at Cardiff, but we think he's going to be the man to spearhead our attack this season. Good teamwork stats, work rates all there. He was a good player for us in the formation that we had last season. Then we've got Callum Bailey. I think he's going to go out on loan this season, to be honest. Good mental, good couple of technicals in terms of his first touch and technique. Passing's not bad either, but his physicals need working on. I think that'll just come through game time and get him on the pitch a lot more. So he is wanted by a couple of clubs, so we have just offered him out on loan. Hopefully the likes of Dover or Kidderminster will step in. We do have a new affiliate club this year as well. If I can find that on the page. I can never remember where it is. We'll just check the affiliates. We've gone with Hyde, who are in the Vanarama North. So maybe an option there for him if the other clubs aren't too interested in signing young Callum Bailey. In terms of transfers out, just at the end of the season, we sold Phil Not Lisa Stansfield to Luton for 100k. He's already worth a little bit more than that, to be honest. But that transfer could go up to 250,000 with a few clauses. In fact, we will look at the clauses that will be could happen for him. So we would be due 10k per game for the next 10 league appearances, 50k after another 20 league appearances, and 40% of profit made on his next transfer will be owed to Leyland Albion. So really looking forward to seeing how he progresses up the league. Hopefully he represents us. Only signed, you may have noticed, just a year prior. So he came in from Leyton Orient and has now moved on to Luton. Good player as well, really good. First name on the team sheet last season. We have been busy in the sort of latter stages of the off-season break, Dave Courtney in from Wolves. So he's more of a central midfielder, kind of striker role. Again, good mental stats, good physicals, stuff to work on with his technicals. That's kind of what we do to get these lads up and going. Another player who perhaps might go out on loan, you can see, wanted by Dover again, but I may use Hyde for him. And then we've got Kieran Lee signed from Manchester City. So you know that he had decent pedigree. He's actually one that the board are really happy about signing. Good young player, again, 18 years old. It's not a youth save, but it just so happens that a lot of the players that have been available to us have been young ones. Not so with Daniel Phillips, a bit more experience for him. So he signed for us for a pretty a low fee as well. 80k, in fact, from Sutton, where he's been basically a regular for the last 3 seasons. Prior to that was at Watford in the Premier League, went out a couple of times on loan, including to Hemel Hempstead. There you have it. Koulibaly is in from Tottenham. He's back here again. Doesn't have brilliant stats, but played really well for us last season. Absolutely nothing to complain about with him. He came in, covered us at right back. Really good player, young Irish lad. No worries whatsoever about bringing him back on loan for a second season. He was really happy to be here as well. So I think somewhere, yeah, he's one of his favoured personnel. His only favoured personnel is myself, who has really brought him on, and he feels the manager deserves even more support from the dressing room. Thank you, Kalilou Koulibaly, really good player. Oliver Bosworth is a young goalkeeper, 25 years old, but really good stats, I thought. Across the board, very even, very consistent in what he's going to offer for us. We did struggle with goalkeepers last year when Tommy Jackson went down with an injury. We were relying on players that really weren't good enough, the likes of Adam Desbois and Mackenzie Chapman, both who have left the club now. So it was important to bring in another goalkeeper. He was at Maidstone in the Vanarama National, but played a lot of football over the last few years, as you can see there in the Vanarama South. Leicester City was his youth club. 201 appearances to his name, only 25, so I thought that was a bit of a no-brainer. Richard Lawson in from Bolton. 21-year-old centre-back, but could play in central midfield as well. That versatility was something that we were looking at. Big aggression, bravery and jumping reach. So he's the type of physical player that we probably need in League One. Not sure he's going to be a starter every week, but we thought it was worth taking a punt on him. And then the most recent signing is this young lad, Mitchell Blackman. Do like the look of him. 18 years old, a ball-winning midfielder, and that's going to be important for the next screen, which will be the tactics. Good stats again in terms of balance, bravery. It seemed to have a really good mental and physical stats, and then it's just, again, the technicals, although he's already got a bit of a heads up there in the technique with 14, which is a little bit unheard of for a defensive midfielder. Will Reddy is back out on loan to Basford. Last season, Whitby, in fact, for the last 2 seasons, he's been out on loan to Whitby. He's a young player. I'm not sure about him. I don't think he's good enough, to be honest. If you look at his physical and mental stats, some of them are quite low. He just hasn't come on since we originally signed him from West Brom. Not much in terms of wages. He's only on 240 quid a week. But somebody that we probably at the end of the season, as his contract is due to end in June 2028, that will be sort of moved on and allowed to leave. In terms of the release players, there have been, as you can imagine, several. Started right at the end of last season. Started there with Eastman, Tommins and Harley Dean all retiring. So absolutely nothing we could do about those. When a player decides to retire, I'm usually quite content to let them go. And then from there, it was mostly players that didn't get a look in last season. Macaulay King, Tyrese Dyche, he's actually signed for Barrow as Macaulay King. As you can imagine, only a few of them have picked up new clubs. Isake was one I did really consider, and nobody's even looking at him at the minute, considering that in his first couple of seasons, you'll see 32 goals in 24, 25, 28 the following year in the Vanarama National. He just didn't really get many opportunities. But I have to say, 12 goals last season for a player that only started 14 games isn't too much of a shabby return. He just felt like he didn't want to stay around. We've also got rid of the two goalkeepers, as mentioned, Adam Desbois, whose goalkeeping stats aren't bad, but he's badly let down by mentals and physicals. Mackenzie Chapman, another who just didn't want to be here and has since signed for Forest Green. So that's interesting. What league are Forest Green in? Shall we have a quick look? Forest Green in League 2. Did we play them last season? I forget. Maybe they got relegated. But he has signed for them. Prior to that, he was with Stafford. So we sort of brought him in for the first season. He played 41 games in total for us, but then sort of shuffled back down the order. You can understand why he was quite happy to leave following that. In terms of our tactics for this season, they have changed, and this will be a sort of moving piece as the season goes ahead. We've got rid of the 4-4-2, we've pushed our wingers up, and we've got a 4-3-3. Still not sure whether these wingers will move back to form a 4-1-4-1, which doesn't really seem very adventurous, if I'm honest, and may leave the likes of John or Thompson Fearon up front a little bit isolated. Be that as it may, currently we are going to start with them high up and just see whether there are issues in these boxes down here as the season sort of opens and progresses. It is a wing mentality that we started with. The tactical style is, of course, Charlie Ball version 2. Has changed. Last year we got away from the wing play slightly, so want to bring that back, especially because I think the likes of Jones on the left is a pretty good player, and we've got decent fullbacks in McBride, and obviously Koulibaly will come in, but we start with Ben Winter at right back. Koulibaly we did suffer with some international appearances last year, so it's sort of the dark side of ambition of him doing well with his country, but obviously not being available for all the fixtures for us. So that is what it looks like at the minute in terms of our expectation. Lots of things happening on the wing. Low crosses, looking for John Jones and playing for set pieces, which we kind of do quite a lot anyway. In terms of in transition, we're looking for our goalkeeper to get the ball forward as much as possible, quickly, and long kicks. And then out of possession, we've got the higher line of engagement and a standard defensive line, just because I don't want the defence pressing up too much there. It will be interesting to see how things go from this from a tactical standpoint going ahead. In terms of our schedule, so we have played a few friendlies, not as many as we normally do, because the league has kind of started a little bit earlier than it did, certainly when we were in non-league. A couple of losses to the likes of Luton and Manchester City under 23s. I mean, that's nothing to worry about too much. We did draw with Hyde and Dundee. The Dundee one, the most recent game, but we did beat Bury AFC and Chorley at home. So in terms of the fixtures, then we've got Walsall and Morecambe to come before Port Vale in the Carabao Cup first round. So certainly we'll look forward to that one. The competition expectations, fight bravely against relegation in League One, just to be competitive in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. Don't really worry about those. And then the Papa John's Trophy. The draw is just in a couple of days for that, so we'll find out how we do from there. In terms of the league, we are against some big teams this year. Blackpool have spent time in the Championship, as have the likes of QPR, Preston, Wigan and Sunderland. That's going to be a big fixture over in the northeast. As you would expect, Leyland Albion are not expected to pull up any trees this season. We are 400 to 1 for the title. That's pretty normal for us. Nothing to worry about there. But I am interested. The early fixtures against Walsall, 17th, and Morecambe, 23rd. So we could get points on the board early doors. Of the 3 relegated teams, we're looking at the likes of QPR as the heavy favourites, which you sort of would imagine, really. Then Coventry and Millwall, Blackpool, Colchester, Sunderland and Wigan up there. As I said, these are big teams to play with. And 9th, Preston there. So you would think that they do pretty well this year. I mean, if it was me telling you right now, I've got to go with the likes of QPR, Sunderland, and probably Blackpool as my 3 favourites to go up. As we did last season, if we can manage to get ourselves into the playoffs, well, this was the expectation last season. If we can get ourselves into the playoffs, I will be pretty delighted. But certainly not expecting this season automatic promotion. Did come as a bit of a surprise last year that we were doing so well. So don't bank on that happening every single year. Certainly not. So thank you for joining me today. This has been the preview edition. On Wednesday, we will have this fixture against Morecambe at the Leyland Albion Stadium. I'll see you for that.